Imagine, if you will, a world where the winds themselves whisper, carrying messages you cannot always understand, but somehow know to be true. This is the nature of the call of God. From the earliest moments of your life, long before memory had shaped your understanding, a gentle tug, a subtle invitation, has been reaching toward you. Perhaps it was in the soft delight of a morning light falling across your window, in the unexpected warmth of a stranger's kindness, or in the quiet moments of solitude, when the noise of the world fell away and you could feel, however faintly, the presence of something greater than yourself. This call is not a thunderous decree that demands immediate attention. It is a patient, enduring presence that waits for your heart to become still enough to recognize it. Many wander through life oblivious, imagining that such moments of quiet introspection are merely coincidences, accidents of circumstance, or the workings of their own imagination. Yet there is a rhythm, a subtle pattern, to these whispers. They echo across the chambers of your heart, seeking recognition, yearning for response. God's call does not arrive wrapped in the extraordinary alone. It is present in the ordinary, in the routine of daily life, in the repetition of chores, in the laughter of friends, in the tears shed silently when no one else is watching. These are not trivialities to be dismissed. They are threads in a vast tapestry that stretches beyond the comprehension of mortal minds, threads that carry the unmistakable signature of divine longing. To ignore them is to miss the unfolding story of your own soul, the narrative in which you are both participant and witness. Every human heart has known, at some point, this inexplicable pull. Perhaps it emerged in childhood, when you first looked upon the stars and felt a curiosity that could not be quenched by mere scientific explanation. Perhaps it came in the form of a question, simple yet profound, lodged like a seed in your consciousness. Why am I here? What is my purpose? Is there more to life than this fleeting passage through time? These questions are not idle. They are the murmurs of the call itself, reaching through the fog of distraction and the clamor of worldly preoccupations. Yet, for all the subtlety and constancy of the call, the human spirit is often resistant, wrapped tightly in its own comforts, fears, and doubts. We are creatures accustomed to immediate gratification, to tangible rewards and visible signs, and the call of God asks for something different: patience, attention, and a willingness to surrender familiar securities for the unknown promise of divine encounter. It is in this willingness, in this quiet yielding, that the extraordinary unfolds. Those who have heard and followed the call speak of moments when time seemed suspended, when decisions made with courage and faith bore fruits far beyond comprehension, when doors opened in directions never imagined, and obstacles fell away as if by invisible hand. Yet even before such manifestations, even before the unfolding of miracles, there is the gentle work of formation, shaping the inner character, softening the hardness of heart, illuminating the corners of doubt and fear with the steady light of awareness. The call is a patient teacher, guiding without force, leading without compulsion, offering grace without the insistence of immediate response. And it is everywhere. In a book that seems to speak with uncanny relevance, in a conversation that lingers long after the words have faded, in the beauty of a sunset that stirs longing in the soul, in the sorrow that awakens empathy, in the laughter that hints at the joy yet to be known. To recognize the call is to awaken to the possibility of intimacy with the divine, to enter into a dialogue that transcends the limitations of human language, to participate in a love that neither diminishes nor confines. And yet, the world conspires to drown out this subtle music. Noise, distraction, cynicism, and the endless pursuit of trivialities mask the quiet insistence of God. The heart becomes accustomed to ignoring the gentle nudges, dismissing them as figments of imagination or mistaking them for coincidence. The danger lies not in the intensity of the world, but in the gradual erosion of attentiveness. Each ignored whisper weakens our sensitivity, and the once clear call becomes more difficult to discern. Still, the call persists. It does not fade with neglect. It is an enduring echo, traveling through the corridors of time, resilient, unwavering, patient beyond human comprehension. And so, to those who feel an inexplicable longing, a restlessness that cannot be satisfied by the familiar, the message is clear: God has been calling you. The subtle, gentle, patient, persistent call has been woven into the very fabric of your existence. To hear it is to begin a journey that is at once terrifying and exhilarating. To step into a narrative larger than the self, to engage in a story where hope and grace intertwine, where beauty and sorrow are both embraced, where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. And though you may not yet know how to respond, the very act of noticing, of becoming aware, of pausing long enough to listen, is itself an answer. It is an acknowledgement of the presence of something eternal, a recognition that your life is neither arbitrary nor accidental, but part of a divine conversation that spans eternity. To answer this call is to step into possibility, to allow the divine to shape and guide, to surrender control while discovering true freedom. The call is not coercion but invitation. It asks not for perfection but for attentiveness. It seeks not immediate clarity but faithful presence. Each step toward listening, each gesture of openness, each willingness to trust the unseen, amplifies the call, transforming it from a faint whisper into a melody that resonates through every facet of life, illuminating choices, relationships, and purpose in ways previously unimaginable. And so, the persistent call of God continues, patiently, tenderly, urgently, a thread running through the tapestry of your existence, inviting you to awaken, to notice, to respond, to enter into the life that has always been waiting, just beyond the threshold of awareness. There is a peculiar tragedy in the human heart when it turns away from the persistent, gentle call that has been extended across the arc of one's life. It is not always sudden, this departure from attentiveness. Often it is gradual, imperceptible, a slow drifting into the comfortable illusions that the world offers. The mind busies itself with tasks, ambitions, and diversions, while the spirit quietly recoils, growing faint, as if a lamp left in a corner without care. Those who ignore the call may convince themselves that life is fully explained by circumstance, that meaning arises only from visible achievements, that the beauty of existence is confined to pleasure, material gain, or social success. And yet, in the secret places of the soul, where no applause or acknowledgement reaches, there is a quiet gnawing, a subtle, persistent discontent, a sense that something vital has been left unattended. Time, which once carried the potential for awakening, begins to feel heavy, as if each passing day compounds a silent regret. Opportunities are overlooked. Intuition is dismissed. Moments that could have been infused with purpose are allowed to slip like water through unheeding fingers. The consequences are not always dramatic, not necessarily punctuated by catastrophe or misfortune, but in their cumulative weight, they are profound. Life becomes a series of small, repetitive actions, each satisfying the immediate desire, but leaving the deeper longing unfulfilled. People often mistake distraction for contentment, business for purpose, and yet beneath the surface, there is a growing emptiness that no achievement can fill. Relationships lose depth, for the heart that cannot hear the divine call is also less able to perceive the needs and joys of others. Decisions are made solely by self-interest or societal expectation, rather than by the discerning guidance of conscience attuned to something higher. In such a life, beauty is dimmed, joy feels fleeting. Even success carries a hollow echo, because it is not aligned with the rhythm of a calling that surpasses mere personal gratification. The tragedy of ignoring the call is not punishment inflicted from without, but a natural consequence of the soul turning away from its intended orientation. It is a drift into a kind of spiritual sleep, where one moves through days and years, accumulating experience and memory, yet without ever touching the fullness of what life might have offered. And yet, even in this state, the call is not silent. There are moments of subtle reminders, a sudden pang of nostalgia, an unexplainable longing, a tear shed for no reason, a sense of incompleteness that surfaces at unexpected times. These are the echoes of the call itself, refusing to be silenced, whispering through the walls that the heart has constructed. Ignoring it too long may bring despair, not in the form of immediate punishment, but as a creeping awareness that life has been spent in partial blindness, that the soul's deepest questions have been postponed indefinitely, that the grand narrative for which one was created has been left unread. And yet, there is mercy even here. The very awareness of absence, the subtle unrest, is itself an invitation. It is the echo of the call, growing ever more insistent, reminding the heart that the possibility of response still exists. But the cost of delay is undeniable the longer one waits. The harder it becomes to recognize the voice, to trust its direction, to step into the unknown with courage and hope. It is a cautionary tale embedded in the rhythm of life. Neglect the call, and one risks wandering through a landscape of muted colors, half-lived joys, and unfulfilled potential. The soul, created for communion with the eternal, finds itself wandering in the desert of the temporal, longing for water that can only come from a source it has repeatedly ignored. And so, the consequences of ignoring the call are both gentle and grave. A quiet erosion of the spirit, a dulling of perception, and a growing ache that hints at the life that could have been, the beauty that could have been fully seen, and the love that could have been wholly received. Yet, within even this caution, there is hope for as long as the whisper persists. As long as the heart still feels the stirrings of longing, the door to awakening remains open, waiting for the courage to turn, to listen, and to follow. To answer the call of God is to step into a life that is, in every sense, fuller, richer, and more profoundly beautiful than anything the world can offer. It is not a life devoid of difficulty or sorrow, for even the most devoted journey carries trials. But it is a life imbued with meaning, a rhythm that harmonizes the heart with the eternal, and a clarity that illuminates the ordinary with extraordinary light. When one begins to listen, to notice, to respond, a remarkable transformation occurs. The smallest events take on significance. Conversations become layered with depth, and even the mundane is touched with grace. The joy of answering is not a superficial happiness that comes and goes with circumstances. It is a deep, enduring delight that arises from alignment with a purpose greater than oneself. It is the recognition that one is participating in a story written across time and eternity, a narrative in which every choice, every act of love, every act of courage contributes to a tapestry far beyond immediate perception. To answer the call is to discover that life's questions, those unrelenting, mysterious longings of the soul, begin to find their answers not always in concrete terms, but in a profound peace and trust that surpass understanding. There is a freedom here, unlike any other, the freedom of knowing that you are seen, known, and cherished, the freedom of walking in truth, even when it challenges comfort or convention, the freedom of embracing uncertainty, yet trusting that each step is guided by wisdom beyond comprehension. And in this answer, the world itself seems to transform. Relationships are deepened, for one who listens begins also to hear the needs, joys, and burdens of others with sharper clarity and compassion. Work, creativity, and daily obligations become channels for expression, service, and delight rather than burdens. The natural world awakens a sense of wonder, as if each bird, tree, river, and stone carries a message, a whisper of the same call that has stirred the heart. The joy is both inward and outward. Inward, in the transformation of character, in the development of patience, courage, and humility. Outward, in the ripple effects of faith, love, and service that touch the lives of those around. Even suffering, when it comes, is reframed. Pain is no longer merely a trial to endure, but a teacher, a refinement, a doorway to empathy, resilience, and gratitude. To answer the call is to encounter a divine companionship that is faithful, tender, and inexhaustible. There is an intimacy in this response, a sense of walking hand in hand with the unseen, hearing the guidance in subtle promptings, feeling the comfort in moments of doubt, and sensing the profound truth that life's ultimate purpose is not found in self alone, but in communion with the eternal. Joy blooms in unexpected ways, in moments of quiet prayer, in the laughter of loved ones, in acts of kindness freely given, in creative inspiration, in discovery and learning, in the unremarkable hours that suddenly feel sacred because they are lived in attention to the call. And as one continues to respond, the joy deepens, becoming a sustaining presence that outlasts circumstance, shields against despair, and illuminates the darkest valleys with a light that never diminishes. Life, once fragmented and restless, begins to feel coherent, purposeful, and radiant. To answer the call is not to receive a life without challenge, but to receive a life in which every challenge, every joy, every sorrow, and every triumph is woven together into a story that resonates with meaning, beauty, and grace. There is a profound delight in knowing that one is not wandering aimlessly but is guided, that one's efforts are not in vain, and that love, both given and received, carries eternal significance. This joy is subtle yet overwhelming, quiet yet resounding, simple yet infinite. It transforms ordinary days into opportunities for wonder, prayer, service, and gratitude. And the more one listens, the more one follows, the more this joy multiplies, spreading outward in influence and inward in depth, until life itself becomes a reflection of the calling, a testimony to the enduring power of attentiveness, courage, and faithful response. In answering, the soul awakens to its fullest potential, the heart experiences the beauty of divine intimacy, and the spirit finds the home it has long sought, the very place it was made to inhabit, the life it was always destined to live. Life often asks us to step forward without knowing what lies ahead, to walk paths not yet revealed, and to place faith in that which cannot be measured or fully understood. Trusting the unseen is a discipline of the soul, a surrender that requires courage, patience, and humility. It is the recognition that the universe, in all its vast complexity, carries patterns and purposes beyond human comprehension, and that every choice we make, however small, is woven into a tapestry of meaning. To trust the unseen is to embrace uncertainty not with fear, but with wonder, to perceive the subtle signs and whispers that guide us, and to act upon them with conviction. Those who trust discover a freedom that defies logic, a sense of serenity even amidst chaos, a profound confidence in the unfolding of events, and an inner compass that directs them toward alignment with what is eternal. Trusting the unseen is not passive. It is an active participation in the mystery of existence, a deliberate openness to guidance that challenges pride, demands honesty, and cultivates gratitude. Each moment of trust deepens understanding, sharpens perception, and expands the capacity to love, to forgive, and to rejoice. As we yield to this process, the unseen becomes more tangible, not in visible proof, but in the quiet resonance of intuition, the alignment of circumstances, and the growing clarity of purpose that illuminates even the darkest nights. To cultivate this trust is to recognize that life is not random, that our journey has meaning, and that each soul is invited to walk in partnership with the divine, shaping reality through faith, hope, and conscious engagement. The unseen, when acknowledged and embraced, becomes a source of courage, guidance, and profound joy, a steady light leading through the shadows, a melody echoing through the chambers of the heart, a truth that transforms ordinary life into a sacred adventure. The power of stillness in a world filled with noise, urgency, and distraction. The soul is often drowned in the clamor of external demands. The power of stillness is the quiet, deliberate act of pausing, of listening, of allowing the mind and heart to settle so that the subtle, persistent call of God can be perceived. Stillness is not merely the absence of motion or sound, but the cultivation of presence, a mindful awareness of self, surroundings, and the invisible currents that shape our existence. In moments of stillness, clarity emerges, the soul recognizes its true desires, unearths hidden fears, and discerns the next step on a path that had been obscured by distraction. It is in stillness that the eternal meets the temporal, where the fleeting concerns of daily life are weighed against the infinite horizon of purpose. The power of stillness transforms ordinary experiences into acts of revelation. A simple walk, a quiet room, or a single breath taken with attention becomes an encounter with the sacred. In such moments, the heart is illuminated, the mind sharpened, and the spirit attuned to the guiding hand that has always been present, waiting patiently for recognition. Those who embrace stillness find strength, not in the frantic pursuit of certainty, but in the gentle, deliberate attunement to truth. They discover patience, resilience, and insight, learning that life's deepest answers emerge not through noise or action alone, but through reflection, contemplation, and a willingness to listen. In stillness, even the ordinary becomes extraordinary, revealing hidden patterns, uncovering unseen connections, and inviting the soul into a dance of grace, rhythm, and alignment with the divine.